Well, this month is off to a cracking start, and Xbox have even decided to treat us with a brand new and incredible sale. I won't lie to you, I'm kind of swamped with games to play at the moment, but that doesn't mean we can't add some brilliant games to that glorious backlog yet again. All games though in today's video are at their lowest prices ever, so now really is the best time to buy. Before we do dive in though, I do give away a free Xbox game as part of these sales videos every single week. All you have to do is just leave a comment below and you're automatically entered. Congratulations to last week's winner, just hit me up on our awesome Discord server and I will get that game right over to you. With that though, let's dive right into these monstrous sales that you certainly won't want to miss. First up, we have Obsidian's sci-fi RPG, The Outer Worlds, and this really is the perfect example of why quirky writing and player freedom can really elevate an entire adventure. In this one, you're dropped into a strange corporate-dominated colony where every decision tilts the balance of power, and the way that you solve problems is entirely up to you, that being if you're a smooth talker, trigger-happy outlaw, or just an awkward mix of both of these abilities. It doesn't just give you quests, it really gives you personality tests that are disguised as moral choices. The humour also lands as well with every sarcastic line. At its original price point, it was already worth the entire ride, but this week it's just £5. This is a fantastic price if you want to experience this original entry before the sequel hits this October. Strategy fans who love a blend of tactical depth and rich atmosphere, you should take a hard look at Songs of Silence. This game doesn't just hand you armies to command, instead it frames every battle as part of a larger saga, where world building and music intertwine to keep you entertained. It has such a gorgeous and unique hand-painted visual style, and also feels less like a numbers-heavy spreadsheet and more like stepping into a living storybook. Half of its charm though really lies in that presentation, with its sweeping scores that elevate every skirmish, while the other half is how much control you have in shaping your fate of your faction. At 50% off, it sits at just £12.50 right now, which is actually the best price that we've ever seen. It's one of the best hidden indie games on Xbox currently, and you have to pick it up if you haven't done so already. Every so often, a hidden gem surfaces in these sales videos, and this week, that hidden gem is Moonlighter. In this one, you play as Will, a shopkeeper by day and dungeon crawling adventurer by night. The brilliance of this game though is just how it blends two completely different genres, that being roguelike combat and shop management, into one addictive loop. You will be venturing into procedurally generated dungeons, hauling back loot, and then haggling with townsfolk to keep your store running and your ambitions funded. Its pixel art charm and breezy soundtrack make it such an easy pick up and play experience, but don't let that presentation fool you. There's a lot of depth in its risk versus reward systems, and it's utterly brilliant. Normally this game would set you back quite a bit, but right now it's going for a ridiculous £2.50 thanks to an 85% discount. Few games this decade have made such an impact as Baldurs Gate 3. This massive RPG doesn't just adapt the Dungeons and Dragons mechanics, but it practically embodies the tabletop experience in digital form. Every conversation can really branch into dozens of different outcomes. Combat here is also deeply tactical, and party interactions feel utterly alive. It's the sort of game where one save file really doesn't feel like enough here, because replaying it means uncovering entirely different storylines. Critics and fans alike really call it a modern masterpiece, and trust me, that statement is entirely justified. This week is 25% off, and whilst it's not the largest discount in this list, it's the best price for Baldurs Gate that we've seen so far, and drops it down to just £43.49. Whilst this next game only launched early this year, it's already sitting at a surprising 33% discount, and for me, it's well worth that price of admission. Ubisoft's long-running series finally headed to feudal Japan in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it's a direction that fans actually quite enjoyed. This entry though introduced two new distinct protagonists, that being a stealthy shinobi and a powerful samurai, and it lets you switch between each of these styles depending on how you want to approach every single mission. From tranquil villages to fortified castles, the open world is also drenched in so much atmosphere, with weather and seasons adding such an extra layer of that immersion. The new combat mechanics feel weightier than before as well, and I really did enjoy my time with this one and the combat more than I expected. Definitely don't miss this one, and it's actually one of my favourite AC games that we got in recent years. If Chaos had a playground, it would look like Riders Republic. This open mod extreme sports festival throws you onto bikes, skis, wingsuits and snowboards and so much more, and then dares you to barrel down mountains and deserts at breakneck speed. The multiplayer scale here is staggering, as dozens of players will be racing side by side in giant events where collisions are inevitable, and to be honest, that's kind of half the fun. Whether you want to nail down tricks in freestyle arenas or just bomb down trails with your friends, there's a flavour of adrenaline here for every single player. What makes it even sweeter though is the price point. Is a jaw-dropping 90% discount that puts it at just £3.50 for this week. I actually picked this one up at its launch price a few years back now, and I loved my time with this one, and at this low price, you definitely need to buy it right now. The Gunk is one of those smaller adventures that slipped really under the radar of a lot of people, but it's exactly the kind of game that sales were made for. In this one, you step into the shoes of Rani, a space explorer with a vacuum-like glove that sucks up creeping sludge blanketing an alien planet. The gameplay loop is a pretty simple one, yet really satisfying. Essentially clear the environment, uncover the secrets, and watch as the world literally becomes back to life in some vibrant colour. There's a real charm to its pacing though. It's never too overwhelming, but just engaging enough to keep you moving forward. Right now it's available for just £2.99 and is a really low price point for such a great indie experience. Plus, if you're an achievement hunter just like me, you get a lovely 1000 gamer score in about 4 to 5 hours. Ubisoft brought us Prince of Persia back in a bold new style with The Lost Crown, and it really surprised me when it did launch. Instead of another reboot in this sort of 3D aspect, this entry instead dives into the Metroidvania genre, combining tight platforming with combat that's very fast, precise, and also stylish. As the protagonist named Sargon, you will wield time powers to solve intricate traversal puzzles, chain different combos, and then take down different bosses that are challenging as they are cinematic. Usually, Metroidvania fans have to hunt for indies to scratch their itch, but here's a very big budget take, and this week is down to £15. Even though the excellent The Rogue Prince of Persia has just landed onto Xbox Game Pass recently, this different take is still certainly worth trying. Sometimes all you need is a very bright and cheerful 3D platformer, and Boti Byteland Overclocked delivers that in spades. In this one, you'll be playing as a quirky little robot, and you'll explore a vibrant cyber world filled with puzzles, hidden collectibles, and bouncy combat. For me, it's very reminiscent of the PlayStation exclusive known as Astrobot, so it's definitely worth playing if you like those sort of experiences. Of course, it's still got that sort of old school platformer heart, but with modern polish, so colourful worlds, upbeat music, and also court play that makes it even more fun when shared with your friends. The beauty of this one though is in its accessibility, as it's challenging enough for genre fans, but also approachable enough for kids or casual players as well. This week it's half price, sitting at just £10.50, and that's not bad at all for such a polished platformer adventure, brimming with so much charm and replayability. If you're in the mood for some simple and arcade style fun, then From Space has you covered. I actually first played this game back on Google Stadia when it was still around, rest in peace, and to me this is a pretty fun little indie co-op game. Of course, as you can see, this is a top-down shooter where you and your friends will fight against swarms of pink alien invaders that are trying to overwhelm Earth. The visuals here are clean and colourful, almost sort of cartoon-like, and the action can get pretty intense when the screen fills with different enemies. It is built though around that co-op element, so grabbing a buddy or two makes it exponentially better throughout the experience. With a 75% discount cutting it down to just £2.74, this one is an easy recommendation for this week. At £4.18 thanks to a 75% discount, I would highly recommend that you pick up Call of the Sea. It's a first-person puzzle game adventure that's set in the 1930s, and it follows Nora as she searches for her missing husband on a mysterious island in the South Pacific. The world here is quite lush, almost sort of dreamlike, but it has clues tucked in every single corner and puzzles that also feel organic rather than forced. It is much more though than just solving riddles as some might expect. Instead, you're uncovering a deeply personal story about love, discovery and sacrifice. The atmosphere alone, from its jungle ruins, eerie caverns and strangely otherworldly sights, makes it really stand apart from typical puzzle games. The game really delivers such an emotional narrative wrapped in mystery, and if you enjoy games like Myst or even Firewatch, this is a must-add to your collection. Few games capture the feeling of playing inside a fairy tale quite like a Juggler's tale. This one is told through the lens of a puppet show as you guide Abby, who's a string-bound heroine, through a side-scrolling adventure where every action is framed by the hands of fate, literally with strings tugging at your every move. The art direction is pretty stunning here, with a handcrafted quality that makes each scene feel alive, while the narrative presentation adds such a theatrical flair that constantly breaks that fourth wall. It mixes puzzles, platforming, and a story into a short but memorable experience, and it leaves such a heavy impact far beyond its runtime. Right now, it's down to just £1.29, and that's a staggering 90% off. For less than half the price of a cup of coffee, you get a poetic and unique adventure that's definitely worth savouring. Funko Fusion might be one of the most surprising crossovers in all of gaming, blending iconic pop culture characters into a chaotic action-adventure game. Imagine controlling a mix of movie, TV, and comic book heroes, all stylized in the Funko Pop aesthetic, while exploring themed worlds stuffed with references and collectibles. Yes, this one even includes the hit film known as Hot Fuzz. Yes, it's exactly the same idea as the LEGO games, but instead it goes into those sort of very old school TV shows and films that many consider ultra classics. You follow a story which basically follows each of these worlds that it's set in, and you collect essentially studs like in the LEGO games to unlock new outfits and so much more. If you like the LEGO games, then you will pretty much love this one, as it really is more of the same. I did review this one back on release, and even though I didn't recommend it at its full price point, I do recommend it now at its sale. If you do want to check out my review though, do check out the link in the description below. As someone who has all of the gamer score for this next game, I think my opinion is well worth noting down when it comes to this awesome third-person shooter. Ghost Recon Wildlands was Ubisoft's bold attempt to take tactical squad-based action into a massive open world, and it still remains one of the most flexible co-op shooters around on Xbox. It is set in Bolivia, and you and up to 3 friends will take on a cartel empire, tackling missions just however you like. That could be stealthy infiltrations, explosive assaults, or a mix of both. The freedom is huge as well, as you can scout with drones, coordinate sniper shots, or even go loud with helicopters and heavy weapons. It's the size though that's really staggering, as the world is filled with tons of outposts, convoys, and hidden stashes, making it such a playground as a battlefield. Usually, it's a game that still costs a pretty chunk of money, but right now it's down to just £6, and honestly, that's a brilliant bargain. Ravenlok is notorious within the achievement hunting community as a fairly easy game, but is still a great adventure that needs to be experienced. It feels like stepping into a modern fairy tale, but with a very dark and whimsical edge. You play as a young girl who stumbles into a mirror world filled with fantastical creatures, sinister queens, and vibrant voxel-style landscapes. It's part action RPG, part narrative adventure, and of course it still has that awesome voxel art style that we love from this studio. At £11.54, thanks to a 45% discount, it sits in a sweet spot. Not dirt cheap, but fair for a polished half-elf indie. If you love games with heart and visual flair, this is one to grab, and I know you certainly won't regret it. So, what are you going to pick up in this week's Xbox Store sale? You'll have to let me know in the comments below. Remember to smash that like button if you did enjoy, and subscribe for more Xbox content every single day. A big shout out to our channel members as well for your continued support, and if you want to become a member for some exclusive perks and so much more, click that join button down below. Whilst you're here though, and if you want to check out some more Xbox content, why don't you check out my video on screen now? I did cover the 18 brand new Xbox Game Pass games that were just announced, which are coming this September and beyond.